Hey there, welcome to the Biohack Your Back Pain training, where we want to show you the simple three-step system to get freedom from back pain so you can feel confident to work hard and play harder, all without harmful drugs, risky surgeries, or endless physical therapy. My name is Natasha Hawthorne.
And my name is Chad T. Grant. Together, we're the founders of Anabolic Aces Health Consulting. Before we get started, we wanted to take a moment to thank you for taking the time to join us for this online training. We're so excited to share these valuable discoveries that can help empower you to finally heal your back pain. So let's dive right in.
And just to be sure that you're in the right place, this training is for you if your back pain limits your ability to work and take care of your kids, and you want to feel capable of providing for your household. This is for you if you've already tried a bunch of things like doctors, physical therapy, injections, chiropractic, massage, acupuncture, and probably more, and you're looking for a long-lasting solution that actually really works. And this is for you if you're ready to finally take 100% responsibility for your results by making healthy lifestyle changes so you can finally heal instead of just managing your symptoms. And on this training, our promise to you is to show you our Biohack Your Back formula to get freedom from back pain so you can feel confident to work hard and play harder without those harmful drugs or risky surgeries or endless physical therapy. Also, you can own your day and do whatever feels right to you. Like, this is a picture of me with a group of kids from my family. I took them to a show and we had a great time, no back pain. But the point is, this is all designed so you can do whatever feels right to you. And I want to urge you to finish what you start. Stick with us right up until the end for a valuable free offer to help you get back pain relief now. We know that some people drop off somewhere partway through this presentation, but we have that special offer for you in the end. Not to mention, you're going to learn a ton of valuable information. So stay with us. Now, listen, can you relate to this? Are you tired of getting out of bed and starting your day with that old familiar pain in your lower back? I can certainly relate to this. This was my life for a very long time. Are you tired of cringing in pain when picking up your kids or carrying groceries? I get it. This was me for a long time too. Are you scared that you might not be able to take care of your loved ones or even yourself if the pain gets worse? That's a big one, huh? Can you relate to doing everything you can, like stretching, strengthening, massage, chiropractic, acupuncture, and probably a whole bunch more, and still getting no lasting relief? Are you frustrated by going to practitioner after practitioner, year after year, getting no real answers? I really get this one. This was exhausting for me. And do you feel like you're missing out on your favorite activities because your back hurts? I've been there. I totally get it, you guys. I have good news for you. It's not your fault. And maybe you've been told that because you have some kind of a diagnosis, like, for example, herniated disc, degenerative disc disease, lordosis, kyphosis, stenosis, scoliosis, or maybe something else, that you're stuck living with pain with no hope of healing. Or even worse, no one can figure out why you're in pain, and that surgery is your only option. And listen, I don't know if doctors tell you this, but traditional back surgery has about 75% failure rate. So much so that they gave it a name, failed back surgery syndrome. Write this down and Google this, failed back surgery syndrome.
Well, the real problem here is that conventional medicine doesn't have the right tools to heal your back pain. And in this training, we're going to show you exactly why that is and what might be a better approach. And to start off here, we like this cartoon where there's a conventional doctor here saying, "We've exhausted all conventional measures. One last desperate option is to put you on an alternative natural medicine that has a 96% success rate." And this to us really encapsulates the problem here is that we shouldn't have to get to this point where we've exhausted so much before we try a different solution. There should be some acknowledgement that when things aren't working, maybe we should look for a different solution. And that's what we're here to present today. So a study to back this up is the study here about low back pain, a comprehensive review. in which they say in chronic back pain patients, a multidisciplinary, logical approach to treatment is the most effective and can include multimodal medical, psychological, physical, and interventional approaches. And what this means is basically we can't just do one modality or one strategy in conventional medicine where there's typically a one diagnosis, one solution, one pill for an ill type of approach. That's not going to work. And the way that this plays out is that conventional solutions are only masking symptoms or addressing structural alignment while ignoring the other key building blocks that your body needs to heal in your back. And this is a big problem if you want to actually get some lasting healing. And an analogy that I like to use for this is a building construction analogy. If we see this picture here, we've got a house that's being constructed, and we have a bunch of things that we need to build a house, right? We need the materials, like you can see here, the wood and the bricks, and we need some blueprints and plans to have all the right angles in the engineering to make sure that the house isn't going to fall down, right? And we need the workers, little in this picture, little guys that are scurrying around busily building the structure and making sure that everything gets assembled in according to that blueprint. And then we also have these things uh, that need to hold those pieces together, like the brick and the mortar, or the mortar to hold the bricks together, like glue. The problem here is that we can't just have one of these pieces if we want to have a good structure, but this is exactly what happens with an approach to healing something, in this case back pain, is that a doctor or a conventional practitioner will tell you, hey, all we need to worry about is the alignment of the structure. We don't have to worry about anything else. Well, the truth of the matter is that they're selling you a solution that only has one of those things. That's why they're only telling you about it. But in the reality, what happens here, if you try to build a structure with only some of the pieces, is going to look more like this. You're going to get a house of cards, which over time, it might look pretty at the start, but over time, it's going to start falling apart because even though it was assembled in the right manner, there wasn't enough glue to hold the structure together. And this is not really an efficient plan. And typically in conventional medicine, when we get to the end of the road here, which you might have been told yourself, is that, hey, you know what we're going to do instead? We're just going to stick a bunch of screws in your back because that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this really extreme approach to just glue. Instead of gluing it together, we don't really have any glue. So instead, we're just going to use all these bolts and go to Home Depot and drill a bunch of stuff in your back. Well, we're here to say that we don't do things like that. This is one of my favorite quotes from Steve Jobs, where he says, let's get a couple of things straight. We don't do fine, we don't accept things the way they are, and we don't stop innovating. And here at Anabolic Aces, this is our opinion when it comes to back pain. It's that we're not going to do things in this kind of halfway approach where we're going to do a piece of the puzzle and just leave you holding the bag, not getting results. We're going to innovate and we're going to figure out a better solution that's durable healing and is actually going to work.
And we've got good news for you guys. Your optimal back health may not be conventional medicine's primary concern. In fact, it almost certainly isn't, but it is ours. And to that end, we've developed a unique 3-step process to unlock your back pain freedom. And what is the key to your success? It's this 3-step formula. And we're going to walk you in this training through what is inside these 3 pieces to complete this puzzle system. And we're going to show you what's inside each one of those, what each question mark stands for. So, with this framework, imagine getting through your day feeling productive and accomplished without pain in your back. Like you get through your workday, you come home and you still have the energy to make dinner and, enjoy your time with your family or friends and you're not in pain. How cool would that be? Imagine doing fun activities with your loved ones with no fear of pain. Imagine being able to pick up your kids without back pain. This was a big one for me. As you may have read in my story on Facebook, I had a lot of trouble with this when my kids were little and my back hurt. I couldn't pick them up and play with them and take really good care of them. And that felt terrible. So imagine not having to live like that. And you know what? The best part is you don't have to endure the frustration of endless doctor visits with no results. Can anyone relate to this? You don't have to take ineffective drugs with damaging side effects. You don't have to waste years of trial and error searching for solutions, and you don't have to get unnecessary surgery that may actually cause you more harm than good. And you know what? If you're feeling skeptical right now, that's totally understandable. There's plenty of nonsense floating around on the internet, plenty of big empty promises. And look, I've been in your shoes. I've felt so driven to get relief from pain that I do anything, try anything. And a lot of those things didn't work out for me. But I can promise you this, we're going to show you exactly how our system makes sense and how it actually works. And the only reason that we can share this with you is because we've been through all of this, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
And yeah, so to tell you a little bit more about us briefly here before we get back to being all about you, we're Chad T. Grant and Natasha Hawthorne. We are certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioners and the founders of Anabolic ACEs Health Consulting. We're best known for helping motivated men and women build strong and healthy bodies to get back to doing the activities that they love. This is Natasha here, a little bit about her and her background. As you can see, she's really strengthy, really strong, enjoys doing yoga, performing aerial arts, and just being a general all-around badass. Her background, though, she's not just a pretty face and a pretty figure. She also has a background in a bachelor's degree in organic chemistry, and she spent years working as a medicinal chemistry researcher. So when she says she knows some things about single molecule drugs and how they affect the body, she knows what she's talking about because she helped design those drugs. She also has advanced training in functional blood chemistry, and she's a certified Pilates method instructor. And, even though she's been through that whole journey with drugs and chemistry, she decided she wanted a more natural way, a natural approach that was going to work for her, and now to be able to share that with you as well. And for me, Chad T. Grant, my background is in psychology. I've spent some years working in the mental health industry as a counselor. I have also advanced training in functional brain chemistry, and I am the host of our podcast, ACEs Audio, where we share a lot of information on natural health. And even though we're now sought after experts in this area, we want you to know that things certainly weren't always this way. We'll show you what we mean. This is a slide of us before. This is me when I weighed about 60 pounds heavier than I do now. And everyone's always shocked when I show them this picture because it really shows you the effect that my teens and 20s, my college years had on me. I always like to say that I gained these 60 pounds by eating the beer and pizza diet in college and really taking on the attitude of ignorance is bliss by just doing whatever was pleasurable. Like smoking or drinking or eating whatever food just tasted good. As you can see here, that was the only goal. It's just feel good, feel comfortable, worry about the consequences later.
Yeah, that was my life too. Ignorance is bliss. I had no idea, and I had no idea that all of that was doing damage to my body.
Yeah. So we started kind of cleaning things up along the way once we started realizing that things were going badly and our bodies were not responding well. For me, this looked like I did some few things like started the paleo lifestyle and started working on cleaning up my diet, exercising more, and I started losing some weight and I actually started feeling a little better. But as time went on, you can see here my little son Dexter at the time, he was a couple years old, and I started carrying him on my back, and I actually started noticing that hey, even though I lost some weight, and I started feeling a little better. My back was actually still hurting me, and I was confused by this because it was like, hey, I'm starting to look healthier and on the outside, but on the inside, my joints were still actually hurting. I still had that back pain in my low back when I walked around carrying him. I had some other joint injuries and things like tendonitis, and I just couldn't really heal them as fast as I wanted to. And this didn't really match my outside exterior. So I was a little confused and wanted to look a little bit deeper.
And this is me in my life before. Exhausted, in pain, with kids hanging off of me. I had two kids at this time. This is my younger one, my little girl. Yeah, so this was me. I had a lot of trouble getting through the day. I had virtually no energy, and my back was in pain all the time. And here's an example of one of my Facebook posts from 2009. As you can see, I'm posting that I'm tired of being in pain and feeling useless. Useless, you guys. This is how I felt. I was in so much pain, I felt useless. And then a couple days later, I was posting that I'm feeling crippled again from severe low back pain. And then, oh crap, my dad thinks it's time to find a neurosurgeon. And pardon me, by neurosurgeon, I meant to say orthopedic surgeon for my back. And here's an example of how my brother was sharing, who was also in back pain, sharing his story with me, how he tried a steroid injection. It worked like a miracle for him for a year, and then things got worse. And I thought I should try that again. And spoiler alert, I did try that. And for me, it worked for about a month, and then I was back in the same level of pain. So it's definitely a band aid solution for me. It's actually never a long term solution. But yeah, I thought I would try because I didn't know what else to try. And all of this led me to ask this question: why? Why was I in so much pain? I looked good on the outside. I wasn't overweight. I ate what I thought was a healthy diet. I was fairly active. I worked out sometimes. I had kids. I went to doctor after doctor, practitioner after practitioner, asking this question, why? And no one was able to give me an answer. No one could tell me why my back was in pain in the first place. No one could tell me how to fix it.
So, to answer that question, over the next decade, both independently and together, Natasha and I have been deep in the trenches, reading books, researching to solve the puzzle. And as you can see here, there's a lot of books and a lot of information. And as we started looking through this, we started to realize a pattern. And something popped out at us that was an insight here. And this insight was that conventional medicine is missing the key to unlock true healing. And this is a big problem if we're only going to use conventional medicine as the route to getting back pain relief. A study that backs this up is the study here where they talk about addressing lifestyle behavior change in patients' clients with chronic back pain as a first line intervention might constitute a novel approach. And to us, we added the exclamation point and the question mark at the end because it's like, what? A novel approach? If we're doing this all the time and it's not working, maybe we should start. Maybe it's not such a novel idea that we're going to do something different, right? That's kind of insanity doing the same thing over and over and again, not getting a result. So about this time, we kind of had enough of things. And we wanted to change things up. So one of the first things that we did kind of progressively going more outside the box was to look for new sources of information like this guy, Mark Sisson, author of the Primal Blueprint. This is a picture of me with him at one of the PaleoFX conferences. And this was one of the first times here in 2015 that we're really digging in to get some good information to be like the book cover says here. How do you do things like reprogram your genes to get better health, to get more energy, and to just live an overall healthy, vibrant lifestyle? One more step down that journey was when Natasha and I met this man, Reed Davis, who was the founder of, or is the founder of Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, which is the coaching program that we're certified in now that we've used to help finish healing ourselves and now help other people. And the big discovery that he helped bring us to and bring all this together was this discovery right here in this diagram. Where we have in the center here is this concept called metabolic chaos, which Reed came up with to describe essentially what goes on in our bodies when things aren't going well, which is basically just a mess. Your body's a mess. But the good, the reason we like this diagram so much is because it really shows you the interrelatedness of that. If you have kind of a mess in the center here, all these things like joint health is kind of the obvious one we're talking about in this presentation in relation to the back. But there's also all these other areas that are interrelated to it, where you can see in this diagram here things like your hormones, things like digestion, things like detoxification, immunity, blood sugar control, and food, and brain health and the nervous system. All these things are interrelated to each other. And if any one of these things is out of balance, they can create a mess with the hub. They can dysregulate the communication systems in the body, and they can cause essentially a lack of the body to have a lack of an ability to heal itself, to heal the back. That the back is not just an isolated piece of the puzzle. So if you have pain in the joints in your back, you can't just look at that in isolation. You can't just do a scan of the back. You can't just take a pill or a shot directly at that point and ignore the rest of the system. And this was the huge, huge discovery that led us both to find a much deeper understanding of health, to be able to get rid of our own health issues, and for Natasha to get rid of her back pain, and to make this huge insight and discovery so that we could be able to help ourselves, help our families, and now today help you.
And the big payoff from that was a relief from 22 years of pain in 5 months. So once I started studying functional diagnostic nutrition, and I created, with the help of my coaches, my own protocol, my own natural healing protocol, it only took me 5 months to heal 22 years of chronic back pain. Can you believe this? I was now again able to take care of my kids and work, and I regained the ability to do the activities that I love. That's why I'm jumping up with joy here. Can you see the joy in my face? It was felt awesome. So this is life now. This is my family. I'm standing next to Chad, and then there's also my brother and his wife and all of our collective kids. And by contrast to that slide that you saw in my previous life, notice this. I'm standing upright and I'm smiling. That's because I'm no longer in pain. I'm able to spend time with my family and enjoy good quality of life. And look, you guys, you and us, we're similar. We're no superheroes. We're just regular people who went through a lot of trial and error. And so if we can heal our chronic pain, you can too. So Chad and I have spent the last 3 years designing this system that I want to show to you now. So think about this. If you picture a healthy back as the hub of a wheel, you need a whole bunch of spokes, and all the spokes need to be balanced if you want to create an actual balanced wheel, right? So, what is the typical first approach that people do when they have back pain? Typically, people will go to doctors. Can you relate to this? Was this your first line, your first approach? It was mine. I'll tell you this. And the doctors have a pretty limited set of tools. So, things they can offer you include drugs, injections, and surgery, right? But the thing is, those things are not solutions. They're no good if you want to have an actual healthy back as your end result. So, what is typically the next step to address structural alignment? And to address structural alignment, you might go to something like physical therapy, chiropractic treatment, massage, or yoga, or just, other things like that. And again, I did all of those things, and they actually help to some extent. But if you look at this picture, you see that the hub of the wheel here has only two spokes, and one of them doesn't even really work. So, can you actually create healthy back from this? Well, no. And this was our big discovery. And the thing is, what we realized is that there are three other missing pieces to complete this wheel to create a healthy, strong back. So now what we'd like to do is to share with you the three secrets that you see in those circles. They're gonna help you to understand why you're still in pain. So the Biohack Your Back secret number one is that MRIs and X-rays are not the only test needed to assess low back pain. How many of you have had an MRI or an X-ray? I can't see you, but I imagine that most of you are raising your hand. I've had them. Those were the only tests that any doctors have ever ordered for me. And maybe you've been told that there's nothing wrong on your imaging, or maybe some of you have been told that you have something like bulging or herniated discs, but there's nothing that can be done about that. Am I right? And if you do have something that's structurally very significantly wrong that limits your ability to heal, the doctors still don't really have a good solution for you, do they? So here's a study that I wanted to share with you that you can find on PubMed. Despite a thorough analysis of the data, we're not able to prove any correlation between radiological findings, such as MRIs and X-rays, and the severity of back pain. So what this means is that exactly what I was just saying, even if your radiological imaging is showing that there's something abnormal in your spine, chances are it doesn't actually really correlate to your back pain. And I also read a study that said that if you take an MRI of like random people that you might find on the street who don't have back pain, something like up to 80% of them do have things like bulging and herniated discs, but they have no back pain. And the study proves that there's no correlation between radiological findings and severity of back pain. So listen, here's our friend Albert Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Why are these doctors ordering the same test over and over? What are they expecting to find that's going to be different, that's going to change their course of action? And here's the real truth, guys. Insurance covered practitioners are too restricted to order the functional tests needed to find the true root causes of your back pain. There it is. This is why they keep ordering the same tests that don't actually give you the right kind of information, because they're too restricted to order the functional tests that you need. So here's the thing. We don't just want to think outside the box. What if we think like there is no box? What if we try a different approach? And here I want to show you a different model that explains why and how we're doing this. This is a wellness scale where at the bottom you have things like diagnosed conditions, serious conditions, and even death. And this is typically where conventional medicine operates. This is the bulk of what insurance covers. Do you agree? And this is actually the model of sick care, you guys. They're not really going to get you very well. And if you start going up the wellness scale from there, you start to get into natural therapies. And this is practices like naturopathic doctors, like chiropractors, physical therapy, acupuncture. And some of those things might actually be covered by insurance, but this is where you start to run into issues. Am I right? Have you ever tried to get an alternative treatment covered by insurance, but maybe you've had problems, or maybe your plan just straight up doesn't cover it? And that's because insurance companies are not actually interested in healing your health. They're interested to getting you up to no symptoms max. But look what happens above no symptoms. You can get into that green zone where you can actually feel well and feel amazing. And this is the realm where functional health practitioners like us like to operate. And what I want to note here is that it's not that you have to start in the green zone in order to work with a functional health practitioner. Functional health practitioners can take somebody from the bottom, but the thing is, we actually have the tools to get you up into that green zone. And this is why insurance covered practitioners don't do this, because they're just restricted and they cannot do this. Their tool set does not go above the no symptoms 50% max. So, what is the better way? The better way is our cutting edge panel of functional labs to identify the root causes of chronic low back pain. And I'll show you what I mean by this. So here are the 3 tests that we currently run. And what they give us is enough information, enough actionable data to compile an actual healing protocol. And honestly, how many tests we run changes because we're constantly researching, we're staying on that cutting edge, and we update the lab panels as needed. Because again, we're not restricted by insurance. We have the freedom to research the latest methods, the ones that are most effective to complete the puzzle of your back pain. And we get enough data to solve it and to create true healing. Here's an example of one of our clients that worked with us, Rian. I'm not going to read his entire testimony, but basically, he suffered from gout for 13 years, which is essentially a joint disease. And what he says is that we didn't just focus on the problem, on his main problem, we focused on the core of the problem. And that, what he says, was what's been missing from his treatment all this time. And it says that we were able to get him back on the track that he was meant to be. So he worked with us for 6 months. And in those 6 months, he accomplished way more than he did in the 13 years of working with his previous doctors. He was able to get off of all but one, I think, of his medications because he replaced them with healthy lifestyle changes. And the result was incredible. He has no more gout attacks and is generally just feeling much better. So that first piece of the missing puzzle in this hub is we're going to reveal your unique biochemistry.
All right. So now that we've got the first piece of the puzzle, moving on to the Biohack Your Back secret number 2, which is that hidden food sensitivities can directly cause chronic back pain, even with a generally healthy diet. And this is really important because I think a lot of the times in conventional medicine and even most of the mainstream media, they'll tell you things like the 80-20 rule, or it's okay to cheat here and there. And it's really not that big of a deal. You can eat, a little bit of this stuff and it's not that big of a deal. Well, we're here to show you some information, some cutting edge science and research that's going to show you why that could be one of the biggest blocking factors to your body healing. Now, maybe you can relate to this. I know Natasha and I can, where you're running around desperately trying to clean up the house and you have a kid or a dog or all these, things running around in the background. They're messing up the house just as fast or faster than you can clean it up. And believe me, I know this is frustrating. And why is it frustrating? Because if you're putting a bunch of hard effort into trying to get a result, you want to have the feeling, imagine how it would feel to have a clean house, everything's in order and everything's settled, and you can just sit down and relax, enjoy a movie at the end of a hard day, but it's still a mess. And something is just basically messing up the works. And, we love our kids and love our dog or a cat, but you know what? Sometimes it's just a little bit frustrating when they're undoing all that hard work that you're trying so hard to do. And it's like, man, what if I had a solution so this could all just be better? Well, the truth of this is that certain reactive foods can do the same thing. They can cause joint and tissue inflammation for up to 6 months after you eat them, depending on how reactive your immune system is. And honestly, if you're on this training right now and you've had back pain and you're having trouble healing it, odds are you're probably one of these people that are more sensitive to something like foods or chemicals, things in the environment that are going to be disrupting your body's ability to heal. And that advice that might work for some people, like, oh, you can eat some and it's fine, might be actually one of the worst pieces of advice for you, something that can be directly keeping you in pain. This slide here shows Natasha with this gentleman, Kieran Christian. You can see his name on this research study over here. Kieran Christian is one of the world's leading microbiologists that deals with gut health and food sensitivities and how everything works inside the body to reduce things like inflammation. And his work has led us to some very important insights. Going to conferences, hearing him speak, and learning about that. We've learned a couple of cool things about the gut and its relation to back pain and inflammation. So let's dive right into that. So here we have a graphic that shows the inside of the gut. And what we've got going on here is with these purple cells, this is the single cell layer inside the gut. That this is basically like the border patrol. We're down on the bottom here, we have the bloodstream, the inside of the body. Over here, this blue kind of thing looks like the ocean. That's the mucus layer, kind of like the mucus in your mouth, similar thing. Well, the way this is supposed to work is out here in the soup. This is kind of what, when you eat food or anything that's coming in, all these little bugs and critters, this mucus is supposed to protect the cells in the gut. You're supposed to have these strong, tight junctions here. You're supposed to have not very much inflammation, a nice, strong barrier, and everything's supposed to get kind of passed through border security, kind of like customs here. So only the good things get in, the bad things get out. Well, the problem here is that if we get things like reactive inflammatory foods, what those things can do is they can actually poke holes in the gut. And there's a lot of complicated science in this. For now, we're just going to stick to the general overview of just trust us that these inflammatory foods are able to cause damage, are able to break these proteins and create these holes. And when the holes break here, and this is what's called leaky gut, all this junk leaks through. These toxins called LPS, lipopolysaccharides, all this kind of stuff leaks through here, and basically everybody freaks out. The people cross the bad guys cross the border. Our body, the immune system down here, which is what all these little guys are, little parts of the immune system, they start attacking these foods. They start freaking out, and what you get is basically at the bottom says here inflammation. And then this inflammation is not just in your gut; it goes throughout the whole body, and it goes to places like your back, right? So why do you think the doctor's doing all this stuff, like giving you drugs to suppress your immune system? Because they know that the immune system is inflaming your back, and that's chronic. The problem is they're not addressing the root cause of that, which can be something like this, like foods and leaky gut. And because no one's addressing this traditionally, the gut just keeps leaking, and we're just treating the symptoms with a shot locally or taking ibuprofen or something, which is just a general systemic anti-inflammatory. Nobody's actually dealing with the root cause. And so what actually happens is that the body can start attacking itself, which is a process called autoimmunity. And what this is kind of like this picture here where you can see these, peaceful hippies over here, all wearing pink, all having a grand old time, trying to take pictures. And then you have all these guys. What are they doing? They're like way over aggressive SWAT team here with, all this riot gear and guns. They're basically freaking out, and they're over responding to what is a normal display from these people. Well, this is what happens with autoimmunity in the body, is that foods that normally might be healthy for you because your body's sensitive to them, the body will start attacking not only those foods, but it might start getting confused and even attacking your own tissues. And this is a thing that can happen in your back, where your body is actually attacking the joint cartilage tissue in your body. And this is just super inefficient, just like that metaphor with the kids in the house. You're trying to do your best. If you're like us, you're probably trying to eat a healthy diet. You're trying to do the right thing. It's just you've gotten bad advice and it's not your fault. But we can do something about that. And this is a study that backs all this up. This is from one of the world's greatest immunologist, Dr. Aristovajani. This study in the Journal of Clinical and Cellular Immunology, where he did this groundbreaking study that shows that people with antibodies, which are like those immune troops basically in the body, to specific food proteins, which means this: if your immune system is reacting to foods, they're going to show a higher co-occurrence at the same time of tissue antibodies in patients without. And what this means, if we dig a little deeper here into the study of this graph, is that you can see here, these bars are on the bottom left here, is that this is a reaction to a certain food, a typical inflammatory food in this study. One of the foods that they showed, what they were showing is that people that had an antibody to the food were 36% more likely to have antibodies to their joints and to their bones. And what this means is if you're having a food that's attacking your body, it's much more likely that your joints and your bone, your body's going to be attacking that. And this is super inefficient because your body's going to be tearing down your joint tissue just because of a food that you're eating. And what's worse than that? So what's the solution to all this? Are we just going to guess and check? Are we going to listen to the media and all this like random information and just guess and test? Well, that could take 20 years, like in Natasha's case. So the better way that we like to do with our clients and our programs is to identify and eliminate the specific foods that are hurting you right now in your body, right now, the second, today, even as you're watching this. There's probably some food that you ate that is causing your back to stay in pain. And once we identify that with targeted cutting edge lab testing, we're going to remove those foods, but we're also going to heal your gut so that you can get lasting relief. So you don't have to keep going through this cycle of, poking holes in your gut and healing them every day. Now, one of our clients here, John, he was very much in this situation. John had chronic joint pain. It was hurting his work productivity. He runs his own business, and it was really costing him time and money and energy. He's a soccer player just like me. He loved hanging out with his family and coaching soccer, and he runs his own business, and he was in charge of not only him, but his employees, and he had to do a physical job, and it was really slowing him down. We came to him, he was really tired and really frustrated with his fatigue and his pain, and he just had this long list of symptoms of, pain in my back, my shoulder, my knee, my neck, everything was hurting on him. So when we did a food sensitivity test on John here, there was a few surprising things. As you can see on the bottom here, John actually had a red high-level sensitivity to pineapple. And this is an interesting one because pineapple actually has some enzymes and things in it that can be related to joints, right? So after he eliminated this pineapple, his joint pain and inflammation went away immediately. And he even was curious about this. He was a little bit skeptical because like, I never heard of this food sensitivity testing before. So he tried it and he ate some pineapple again a few months later. Immediately, his shoulder, his back, his joints started hurting again. So this is like a really good example of how something that, there was no way he was going to guess that he should stop eating pineapple. And that was actually one of the biggest things hurting his joints. So this is the last piece, or this is the second piece rather in the puzzle here of the healthy spoke. First piece was revealing your biochemistry through better testing. This is kind of an extension of that with testing. We're going to be testing and removing those specific foods that are keeping your back in pain.
Now we're getting to our last secret, Biohack Your Back secret number 3. And this is that stretching, adjusting, and medicating provide short-term relief, not lasting healing. And here's a study to back this up that, again, you can find on PubMed that says there are multiple treatment modalities for low back pain, but strong evidence of benefit is often lacking. Now, you guys, what are we going to do with this? And I'm actually going to show you 3 quotes from the study. This is just the first one. That strong evidence of benefit from treatment modalities is often lacking. Like, what are we doing here? Why do we keep doing the same thing over and over when there's no benefit? And there's another quote from the same study. There's little or no evidence of benefit for things like Tylenol and muscle relaxants and TENS for the treatment of chronic low back pain. TENS stands for transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. Some of you may have heard this. It's a unit you can get and use it at home. But again, little or no evidence of benefit from these techniques. And with drugs, I want to show you this. This is the typical drug prescription cascade. So you start with stress, poor diet, and chemical exposure. And what you feel from that is symptoms, right? And then what do? When you have symptoms, you go to the doctor and you get a medication for a single symptom, because this is how traditional medications work. And then what do you usually get from that? More symptoms. Can you relate to this? Have you ever taken a medication and you actually got additional symptoms from that? Actually, you guys, with synthetic drugs, this happens pretty much every single time. I worked in drug discovery, I worked on these things. There is no such thing as a synthetic medication without side effects. So when you get more symptoms, what do? You go to your doctor, and what typically happens? They give you more medications to manage those side effects, those additional symptoms. And then what happens? You get more symptoms. And this is the thing. See that bottom part, more symptoms and more medications? This is exactly how people end up on 5, 10, 15 different medications, because the traditional medical system just keeps them stuck in that cycle. And this can be really frustrating, not to mention really costly. And here's an example of one of our clients that worked with us. Her name is Joan. She was 64 when she started with us, and she says that her body felt like she was 80. She had pain everywhere, joints hurt, and hands, knees, hips, had trouble sleeping because her back was in pain. And she was on plenty of medications and just kept getting more and more medications as she got older. And then by working with us, she learned about her hormones and she learned what foods she was sensitive to. And we just talked about this, right? And after a while, she was able to stop all prescription medications. Now, how amazing is this that someone who is in her mid 60s can get so dysregulated that she was on, I don't know how many medications she was on, but I think it was something around 9 different medications. And after working with us for just a few months, able to stop all prescription medications. And she says at the end that she just couldn't do it by herself. And this is true, because if you consult traditional medical system, they're just going to keep you stuck in that medication cascade. But Joan was able to achieve amazing results. She's now 66 and feeling much better. And you guys, this is honestly like the kind of stuff that keeps us going. And here's another quote from the exact same study that I just showed you. Moderate quality evidence for long-term effectiveness of yoga and chiropractic approaches have shown mixed benefits in the treatment of chronic low back pain. Okay, so we're getting a little bit better, mixed benefits. But again, this is not that like final, healing approach. Like this is not going to get you all the results that you need. And I know that before I knew this, I was in pain and desperate for solutions. And I tried yoga and Pilates and chiropractic treatments. And I had a lot of hope that it would help. So much so that I went and got certified in Pilates method. I went through a very painful, mind you, 2-year certification process where my back was in pain all the time, despite my best efforts to do Pilates and yoga. And I was doing chiropractic treatment at the same time. And I started teaching it, all in the hopes that I would get better. And again, that alone didn't work, because it's not the end all be all solution.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remind everyone here that it's not that any of those things are not helpful. Things like massage, yoga, and chiropractic, they're great. The only problem here is that they're not the complete recipe. Like if you look at this picture here, it's not that like if you're trying to make a cake and it's like, well, I try to make a cake with just flour and this cake is crap. Well, what about the rest of the ingredients? The flour is not the problem. Of course, not going to be regular wheat flour around here. It might be gluten-free flour, but um, the problem is not that with any of the necessarily any one of the ingredients specifically, but if you don't have the whole recipe, the end result's not going to turn out right. You need to have all the pieces of the puzzle. So if you're trying to do something like stretch out the back or strengthen it, and you don't have the rest of the pieces to hold it together, a baking analogy is actually really good, because the things that we do here with our approach that are more nutritional or supplements are going to be more like the glue to hold it together, right? So the raw structure might be the movement, and that the structure to hold it together is going to be just as important, though you're not going to get a good result. Um, a slightly more technical way to talk about this is a balance between growth and repair and wear and tear. And typically what's going on here, like you can see in this scale, is that the wear and tear side of this is too heavy, which is something called catabolic, which is breaking something down. The metabolism is the general way the body functions, things coming in, things coming out. As you might have recognized, some of you keener viewers, in our name anabolic ACEs, anabolic is the other side of that, which is growth and repair and building things up. And there's lots of fancy biochemistry that goes into this, but for now, it's basically suffice to say that if you break yourself down too much, you have too much wear and tear, not enough growth and repair, you're not going to be able to heal. And that's not good. So, what does that look like in the back? As you can see this picture of the back here, we've got all the discs and the vertebrae, the spinal column, and the fluid. Well, the way that this looks if things are too much wear and tear is that this stuff is going to get broken down and it's just not going to heal. And that's probably a lot of what you're experiencing, right? You're feeling that wear and tear, but you just can't get back to the healing. Well, what if instead we had, like this picture over here, all these raw materials that are basically like the glue and the raw substrates or the raw building blocks to help the body heal itself? And then the body could communicate with things like hormones and everything was working together like a coordinated machine to bring in all these nutrients and things like, if we needed supplements and things in higher doses, to bring them in and really help that stuff regenerate and heal. That's going to be a better recipe for healing and regeneration success, and much quicker than taking years or 20 years. This might be able to happen in a couple months if we did it in a strong enough way. And that's why here at Anabolic Aces, like as Ferrari here, I actually used to work as a Ferrari technician here in Seattle. Um, you need to do everything in moderation, including moderation, which means that sometimes when you need to get the job done, like in this case, this is a Ferrari F1 pit crew, where you need to have this car. Like if you're changing tires, like when I worked at Ferrari, if you're going to change tires and you have an hour to do it, you can do it with one guy and get a cup of coffee, and it's all well and good. If you need to change the tires in 5 seconds or something, you might need 21 guys here, I think is how many in this picture, um, 20 guys, including the driver. But you need a huge team. You need to really get some stuff done. So the better way to do this with your body and with your back here is going to be use a data driven with all that functional lab testing, customized right to you and your individual needs, lifestyle and supplement protocol for safe and effective healing. And this is going to look like this. This is my desk here, where we have all this data and information, lab testing, all this kind of stuff that we're going to go through, figuring out and solving the case for which supplements each client needs specifically, and enough supplements altogether to fill in all those missing pieces and really supercharge and accelerate healing so you can get that result and feel better. And this is going to end up with a nice balance between catabolic wear and tear, which is the load and the movement you put in your body, and also just clearing out the trash and the garbage, with also the growth and repair and regeneration, which is what we're going to need to do to heal. And this is a good testimonial of this. One of our clients, Rachel here, and Rachel had actually, she had some misdiagnosed things. She went to doctors. They told her she had restless leg and runner's knees and all these, basically what I kind of look at as excuses of why they couldn't help her. That's really what this is. A diagnosis is where conventional medicine ends. A diagnosis is where functional medicine starts. This is where we start on the case. So with Rachel, once she had those diagnoses, she came to us and she was like, I don't want to go through that model. She discovered she had hidden food sensitivities. She removed her reactive foods and followed a personalized and strict supplement regimen with enough supplements to fill in all those missing pieces, like we just said. Joint pain miraculously disappeared. Miraculous, I know it can seem, but it actually, with biochemistry, what we do on the back end here, it's not actually magic. It might seem like magic, but it's just smart, targeted science done with enough of a therapeutic dose, with enough supplements and enough interventions that it can actually work. It's not actually magic. It just seems like magic. And so Rachel was able to get over a joint pain, much happier, get back to her activities, back to her life. And that is the final piece in the wheel here, where we now have a big, strong wheel where we revealed the biochemistry, we've removed those reactive foods. And now this last piece is that we're going to use this big therapeutic dose of both lifestyle and supplements to rebuild those tissues, get that anabolic growth back in there. We have a nice, strong wheel where we have the doctors if we really need some kind of emergency, but for the most part, we're not going to be using those as our long-term approaches because they're just not good tools. We're going to use our friends in the structural world. Definitely, if we need to have physical therapy, if we have a really acute injury, we need that. That's awesome. We know some great physical therapists. We're very much friends and allies with chiropractors, functional neurologists that do great work in that area that very much needed. Also, our friends that are massage therapists and yoga instructors, all those are super valuable. And our piece of the puzzle is to add in these other 3 areas to get you that lab testing, get you clarity on which foods you need to remove, and rebuild your tissues so that you can make the most out of this structural stuff. So that when you go to yoga, when you go to massage, you're flushing your tissues, you have something to flush into them, and you don't have all that garbage built up in your system and those chemicals that are going to be hurting your results at the chiropractor. That's why those things are not working, not because they're not good, but because they're missing pieces. And that's what we're here to finally provide some clarity so you can heal quickly and effectively.
And again, as our friend Einstein here says, make everything as simple as possible, but not simpler. And what that refers to is like what we just showed you, that whole comprehensive system, you cannot make it simpler than necessary. And to that end, we have developed this comprehensive approach. So this is our reveal to you Biohack Your Back formula. And the formula consists of remove, rebuild, regenerate. And we just walked you guys through this. So we're going to reveal what's happening with your hormones. We're going to reveal what's happening with your digestion and what's happening with your immunity. And then we're going to work on removing the toxins. We're going to remove stress and remove negativity. And then we're going to help you to rebuild all of your tissues with targeted, customized supplements, with movement that's appropriate for your body, and with nutrition that's customized for you. And this formula works. But you know what? You shouldn't go this alone. And here's why. Your biggest challenges can be solved with a simpler model and a better support. Like in this example, this Rubik's Cube. It's a pretty complex puzzle, right? Do you know how to solve a Rubik's Cube? Well, maybe you do, but how did you figure it out? By following a proven step by step model, right? Without that step by step model, you could be sitting there twisting this puzzle in random directions for days, getting nowhere near the solution. But with that proven plan, it's actually easy, right? And that's exactly what we've created with our Biohack Your Back formula. We have spent countless hours studying and researching so that you don't have to waste your time, waste your money, run the wrong tests, get the wrong supplements, and put the wrong foods in your body. And so we've seen that the old way of doing things and going it alone simply isn't cutting it. And you're here because you want a durable solution to build a strong and healthy back.
Yeah, and you want that durable solution, but you might feel like currently your pain and your just general approach to fixing that is kind of a mess, right? You've got all this stuff here, like these wires, you're just all tangled up. You don't know what to do. It's very frustrating. This is not an empowering feeling to feel like you have confusion and chaos and mess. Well, the proven roadmap that we've used, we've shown you all these clients that have had success stories. We've shown you Natasha's success story, all of our things that have worked here. This is like trading in your mess of wires for some sleek solution here, like from Apple, known for their sleek solutions where they take a mess and make it into an elegant, streamlined, nice process, which is, so Apple, it's a good point. Apple, a lot of times some people will have a criticism of Apple that they're like, oh, this product is too expensive versus like, a $5 set of headphones. Why would I pay, $200 for some AirPods or something? Well, why would you do that? Because you would get a result that's a lot better, with a lot less frustration and a lot more joy and a lot more excitement, and just really get your result. If you want to get your music in your ears quickly, this is a much more elegant solution than fumbling around with headphones in the drawer or something like that. So this is what our model is going to do. We have the roadmap to thriving, not just surviving, where we have this roadmap that's step by step in all these pieces to reveal what's really going on in your body, to remove those negative inputs, and then to properly rebuild all of your tissues. And we're here to tell you that this system works even if you've been told you have all those diagnoses we mentioned before. If you have been told you have herniated disc, degenerative disc disease, lordosis, kyphosis, stenosis, scoliosis, all the osises, you've been told that you're stuck living with pain, no one can figure out why you're in pain, and you've been told you need surgery. And here's some more proof of why that would be the case. So this is Jeremy's story. Jeremy is one of our colleagues. Jeremy had years of severe low back pain despite his active, healthy lifestyle. You can see here he looks like a pretty healthy guy, right? Generally good shape, all that sort of thing. But Jeremy told us, confided in us and told us that he needed, a couple shots of vodka and Vicodin to get through his work days or the conferences, like we all go together to these health conferences. Because as you can see here, he had a herniated disc at L5S1, very degenerated, and his doctors, he was feeling frustrated, defeated because his doctors told him that he needed surgery. There was no other option, just like you might have been told, no other option besides just these anti-inflammatory shots or pain pills and that sort of thing. Well, Jeremy, because he's lucky enough to be in the same network as us and has access to these like functional diagnostic nutrition principles, he implemented a new lifestyle and supplement protocol. His chronic low back pain completely resolved in months. And the most surprising part to him and maybe to you might be that there was virtually no difference in his MRI imaging before and after the pain, before and after the pain went away. And this is like what Natasha was talking about before, as in if you it's not indicative just by looking at an MRI. Like if we go back for a quick sec to show that if that disc is degenerated, it looks the same before and after. That's not what's going on with the pain. What's going on with the pain is that the nerves and the tissues were inflamed. By Jeremy doing lifestyle and supplements, it calmed down those tissues and healed the nerves, healed all that stuff. So then his pain went away. Now Jeremy's able to work, play with his dog, do CrossFit, hike, all with no pain.
And you guys, we're here to tell you that you can do this. We can do this together. Your brighter future is within your grasp. Imagine never having to worry about completing your daily tasks because of crippling back pain. Can you relate to this, guy? This was me for many, many years. And then picture how good it feels when you know you can crush your favorite activity with ease. This is actually me competing at a pole dance competition, which I can now do because I'm free from back pain. And if you'd like us to help you do this, we would be delighted. And here's exactly how we can help you. We have this back to action call, and we've set aside some time in the next 48 hours to speak with you personally about how you can apply these strategies into your life starting today. And on this 45-minute call, we'll put together an action plan for your specific situation to help you start feeling relief from pain now. So, if you're eager to find the solution to your chronic pain, if you want to feel strong and capable and finally get the freedom from pain that you deserve, that you've been searching for so many years, and if you want to do all this without harmful drugs, risky surgeries, or endless physical therapy, then this call is for you. On this back to action call, first, we're going to identify the number one thing stopping you from getting back pain relief. Second, we'll discuss what you can do now to get back to working hard and playing harder. And third, we'll build your customized road plan for lasting relief. And the best part is that this call is absolutely free.
And here's why. Normally, we charge $300 for an hour of our time. The reason we offer this free call is because we truly enjoy connecting with motivated action takers like you and believe it's the only true way to start a relationship on the right foot. The other reason we offer this call for free is because we know a good percentage of people we speak with will want to work with us to most efficiently meet their goals. And if you find the plan we put together helpful for you and want to work together thereafter, then we can tell you more about our back pain freedom program. It's not cheap, but it's also not overly expensive. And it's certainly a lot less than trying to do things on your own and continuing to struggle. With that said, please understand we're not offering you a sales pitch in disguise. If we're not a good fit, there's no hard feelings and we'll part as friends. We promise not to pressure you or pester you in any way whatsoever. We don't like being salesy people. We are in this because we like to help people, and that's what we're all about. So if it's not a good fit, no worries. We can point you towards some other resources, but we know that a lot of you will want to hear what we have to do and maybe have a chance to work with us in our back pain freedom program. But before we go any further, you need to know that we can't help everyone. This is not for you if you're in a terrible financial situation. What this means is that if you are already, like, say, for example, you've hurt your back and you're on disability and you're just completely out of money and resources, you don't have enough money to invest in things like supplements or lab testing, things that are going to cost either hundreds or thousands of dollars, and you have no way to get that money. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a solution for you because we don't take insurance. We're not that kind of a model. It's going to be things that are going to be cash investments, and if you're in a terrible financial situation, this is not going to be a coaching program that's going to work out. We wish we could offer all these things for free, but the truth of it is, a lot of times if people don't pay, they're not going to pay attention. And we're not able to provide all this research and this cutting edge stuff without the financing to back that. And insurance companies aren't going to pay to do that for all the reasons that we said. So that's just the way it is. It's a good thing because it empowers you. If you're going to invest money in this, we know you're going to get the job done, and that's a good thing. This is also not for you if you have a victim mindset. If you're still going to be, if you're going to be complaining instead of taking action, if you're that kind of person, this is not going to be for you because it's going to require you to take action to get this done and really take responsibility for yourself. It's also not for you if you're closed-minded, if you're convinced that this won't work, if you think, hey, this stuff is all nuts, I don't really care how many studies there are, conventional stuff's the only way to go and doctors know what's best, then hey, that's fine. We wish you well with those solutions if they're going to work for you.
On the other hand, this is for you if you're ready for a real solution now. If you have an open mindset, that means you're ready to change your beliefs and behaviors and open your mind to new possibilities. This is for you if you have the discipline to follow through to get results. If you're a quitter, unfortunately, this doesn't work. This does require follow through. So if you fit these criteria, then this is definitely for you. And here's what to do next. Click the button below. It should be somewhere on your screen, or you can type this into your browser, anabolicases.com/apply. And then this is going to take you to our scheduling system where you'll be able to grab a time to chat with us in the next 48 hours. And once your time has been selected, you're going to see a form with a few questions that we'd like you to answer so we can get a better idea of who you are and where you want to go so that our call can be as productive as possible. And again, just to quickly summarize, on this back to action call, if you want that free 45-minute call to find out the number one thing blocking you from getting back pain relief, and you want what to do to get back to working hard and playing harder, and if you want your customized roadmap for lasting back pain freedom, then this call is for you. Simply click the button below on your screen or navigate over to anabolicases.com/apply.
But we want to remind you that time is definitely of the essence here because you now have two choices. You can continue doing what you've always done, and sadly, you'll likely get the same results. Or we can jump on the phone and put together a winning game plan that will set you up for success. We've noticed that there are two types of people in the world when they're presented with a problem like this. There's the struggler who's going to figure out what they want and then ask, how can I do this? They then spend years, like we did, basically trying to crack the code. But sadly, that rarely happens, or it's going to take forever, neither which is really good. Then there's the smart person who actually succeeds because they figure out what they want and they ask, who can help me achieve this? They find a mentor, a coach, someone who's already paved the path, someone who can help them get the results so much faster than they ever could on their own. So the question to ask yourself is, which type of person are you? Are you going to be like Neo in the Matrix here? Are you going to take the pill that you maybe have not heard of, but it's, there's a lot better chance for results, and you've seen here all the social proof of all the ways that other people have done this and it works for them? Or are you going to keep struggling and trying to do it on your own when you know that that's not working? So you've watched this entire training. You know that you want to avoid costly surgery and harsh drugs. You know that you want to create freedom from back pain so that you can enjoy meaningful experiences in your life and be fully present with your loved ones. And you know that you're simply not getting the results you want on your own. We've already went over, you've invested your time, and you know now that the only smart way forward is this new approach. And we know that you're already invested because you've made it to the end of this training and put all this energy into learning about the system, how we're going to be able to reveal what's going in your body, to remove all the stress and toxins and things, and to rebuild your tissues and heal. So we know that you're going to want to take action now and not just, waste this time, that you want to make it an investment so you can keep moving forward. So based on all that, you know that you're going to take advantage of this opportunity now. So once again, click the button below or go to anabolicases.com/apply and let's do this together.
We're so excited. We're really looking forward to speaking with you. And again, I wanted to thank you guys for taking the time to invest in your own education. And click that button and let's get on the call. Can't wait to meet you. Until then, have a great day.